Everyone thinks 4G hotspots are obsolete in 2026 because 5G is supposedly blanketing every corner. But here's the thing. The Huawei E5785 can actually beat many budget 5G solutions where it counts: stable speeds, solid battery life, and real-world reliability, because Cat6 carrier aggregation with decent antennas often outperforms flaky 5G handoffs. I went in skeptical, tested it for 3 weeks across city apartments, packed coffee shops, trains, and a metal roof cabin. And what I discovered flipped my assumptions about what you really need for travel Wi-Fi and backup internet. If your title and thumbnail say watch this before you make a choice, this is why. The hype around 5G might be costing you stability you didn't know you could have. Before we dive into what I discovered, quick heads up. If you're already leaning yes and just want the best current deal on the E5785, I've placed a link below. But stick around, because a couple of quirks I found could save you money or headaches depending on how you plan to use it. Context first, I needed a dependable backup when my fiber went down midweek during client calls. My phone hotspot overheated, throttled, and nuked my battery. I'd also been traveling for work, airports, rideshares, hotel Wi-Fi roulette, and I needed something my team could share without babysitting it. I tried cheaper Cat4 hotspots in the past. They connected, sure, but single-carrier LTE crumbled at rush hour. Then I looked at full-blown 5G routers, great on paper, but way pricier, bulkier, and surprisingly inconsistent when networks flipped between 5G and LTE. Enter the Huawei E5785. LTE Cat6 up to 300 Mbps down, 50 up, dual-band Wi-Fi, screen readouts, high-link app control, support for around 16 devices, and optional external antennas via TS9 ports. Sounds like the sweet spot, but marketing never survives real life, so I pushed it hard. Testing round 1, dense urban, peak time congestion. I ran speedest mornings, lunch, and late evenings for a week. Over 5 GHz Wi-Fi to a laptop, I saw peaks at 160 Mbps down and 30-35 up in the best windows, with pings around 28-45 ms. During the dinner rush, it settled to 70-90 down, 15-25 up, still usable for 1080p streaming and big file syncs. My phone hotspot in the same exact spot. Usually 30-50 down and spikier latency. The E5785's Cat6 aggregation kept sessions steadier, but then I hit a basement coffee shop and speeds dipped to single digits. That's where things got interesting. Round 2, mobility, 1 rideshare to the airport, then a 45-minute train ride. I connected 2 laptops, 3 phones, and a tablet. Streaming YouTube 1080p on one device, Slack and email sync on the others, and a Zoom call on LTE. The Zoom stayed clean the whole ride, and web browsing didn't stall. Handovers between cells were smooth for a 4G unit, but then on the train's final stretch, throughput sagged as the tower got hammered. Still usable, just not pretty. Round 3, rural edge, inside a metal roof cabin, signal tanked. Without help, I saw minus 112 dBm RSRP and 4.6 Mbps down. I plugged in a pair of TS9 MIMO paddle antennas and nudged the hotspot toward a window. Signal improved to around minus 96 dBm and speeds jumped to 18-25 Mbps down, 712 up, enough for Netflix and cloud docs. That was the aha. External antennas aren't a gimmick here, they're the difference between painful and practical. Round 4, battery and thermals. I looped HD video and cloud sync with 5 devices connected. On 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi, I logged 9 hours 47 minutes before shutdown. On 5 GHz, about 8 hours 12 minutes. Standby with occasional pings got me roughly 2.5 days. It charges via micro USB, not USB-C, and a full charge took about 3 hours 20 minutes. It got warm but never hot. With 12 devices connected, overall throughput dipped and latency rose, normal for an AC hotspot, but it never crashed. Wi-Fi range on 5 GHz comfortably covered a room around 10 meters. 2.4 GHz punched through 2 walls better. Management and quirks. The Huawei High-Link app made setup and SMS management simple, and the web UI at 192.168.8.1 let me set data alerts, toggle 2.45 GHz, and change appends. However, there's no built-in Ethernet, no Wi-Fi 6, and no official band locking in the standard UI. Some variants differ on LTE bands, which matters a lot if you travel. And yes, it's micro USB. Not the end of the world, but dated. Here's the biggest revelation. The E5785's consistency beat my mid-range 5G phone tether in a lot of mixed coverage areas. When the phone bounced between NSA 5G and LTE, latency spiked and streams hiccuped. The E5785, locked into solid 4G with carrier aggregation, just kept chugging with fewer drops. After 3 weeks, dozens of speedists, and real work sessions, my most surprising finding is that reliable Cat6 LTE still feels like the right move if you value predictability over peak burst speeds. Compared to alternatives, the Netgear Nighthawk M1 Cat16 offers Ethernet and higher ceilings, but it's much pricier and bulkier. Cheaper Cat4 units like TP-Link's older M7350 save cash but have speeds under load and often lack 5 GHz. Huawei's E5885 adds Ethernet and a power bank function, but it's harder to find and costs more. Is the E5785 too good to be true? No. It still stumbles in extreme congestion and won't touch 5G's top-end throughput in perfect conditions. And band support is variant-specific. The EMEA model is great for Europe-Asia, but not ideal for North American carriers. But for travel, remote work, and backup internet in 2026, the balance of speed, battery, and stability is shockingly practical. Now that you know stability is the real differentiator, grab the E5785 before stock cycles push prices around. 4G hotspots are getting discontinued in waves, and the good mid-tier models spike in price unpredictably. I've linked the best current offer below. Check it while it's available. Bottom line: if you need a dependable travel hotspot, a no-drama backup for work calls, or a portable router for road trips and rentals, the Huawei E5785 is a smart buy. Choose it if your area has strong 4G, you want external antenna options, and you don't need Ethernet or Wi-Fi 6. Skip it if you demand 5G peak speeds, need a wired port, or you're in North America on bands this model doesn't support. Look, in 2026, the smartest choice isn't always the newest tech, it's the tech that stays connected when it matters. The E5785 is that steady workhorse.